There's a kind of woman the world doesn't talk about enough. She isn't constantly updating her status with someone new. She's not seen jumping from relationship to relationship. She lives quietly, independently, alone, but not lonely. She doesn't live without boyfriends because she can't find one. She lives without them because she understands the difference between being available and being accessible. Just because she's single doesn't mean she's waiting. Sometimes being single is a choice made in power, not in absence. This woman has learned to enjoy her own company. Her Friday nights aren't filled with texts from half-intested men. They're filled with books, plans, dreams, and silence. Beautiful, healing silence. She's not desperate for someone to fill the space beside her. She's focused on building a life that feels complete, whether someone joins her or not. She no longer gives time to relationships that don't challenge her, don't respect her, or don't match the effort she gives. She understands now that peace is not something you find in someone else. It's something you protect within yourself. And that peace is sacred. People may ask, why are you still single? As if her value is somehow tied to someone else's validation. But what they don't realize is she's not still single. She's still whole, still evolving, still protecting her standards. She doesn't need a boyfriend to prove she's lovable. She knows she is. Deeply, truly, entirely. Her life isn't empty, it's full. Full of purpose, full of reflection, full of quiet strength. She's not resisting love. She's just not settling for a version of it that costs her her dignity, her peace, or her identity. She doesn't chase, she attracts, but only what matches her level. She's magnetic to those who are grounded, respectful, and emotionally mature. Anything less gets filtered out, not because she's cold, but because she's clear. Clarity is her superpower. She knows what she wants. But more importantly, she knows what she won't tolerate. That clarity keeps her safe. It keeps her grounded. It keeps her free. Her solitude is not sadness. It's self-mastery. It's the deep knowing that love should add to your life, not become your life. That being alone is far better than being poorly accompanied. People assume she's tough to love, but she's not. She's just unwilling to perform emotional labor for men who haven't done it for themselves. She's not waiting to be saved. She saved herself a long time ago. And if the right man enters her world, he won't find an empty space to fill. He'll find a life already full. He'll find a woman who brings more to the table than anyone expects. Depth, direction, and discipline. And he'll have to bring the same. Because this woman didn't wait around hoping love would fix her life. She fixed her life so that love would have to rise to her level just to join her. She lives without boyfriends, not because she hates men, but because she loves herself more than the idea of being chosen. She chose herself first. And she'll keep choosing herself until someone shows up who doesn't ask her to shrink, dim, or settle. A woman who lives alone without boyfriends is not hard, she's rare. And rare isn't something you chase. Rare is something you earn. A woman who chooses to live alone without boyfriends is often misunderstood People might assume she's sad, broken, or incomplete. But the truth is far from that. Her solitude is not a sign of lack, it's a symbol of self-mastery. She's not avoiding relationships, she's embracing a deeper relationship with herself. It takes strength to be alone in a world that constantly pushes companionship as the ultimate goal. It takes courage to turn down noise and sit in silence. She's not lonely, she's present with her thoughts, her emotions, and her personal growth. While many chase relationships out of fear of being alone, she has learned to make peace with solitude. She doesn't see time alone as empty or wasted. Instead, she sees it as sacred, necessary space for self-reflection, creativity, and emotional healing. There's power in waking up every morning knowing that your happiness, peace, and worth aren't dependent on someone else's presence. That's not loneliness, that's emotional independence. Her decision to live without boyfriends isn't rooted in bitterness, it's rooted in clarity. She knows who she is, and more importantly, she knows what she's not willing to compromise just to have someone beside her. She's not afraid of vulnerability or love. She's simply not willing to sacrifice her standards for temporary companionship. She's not filling her calendar with meaningless conversations or casual dating just to avoid feeling alone at night. Her life is full because she fills it with purpose, not distractions. Most people don't realize how much emotional strength it takes to live alone with grace. There's no one to affirm your value on a daily basis. No one constantly checking in to tell you you're beautiful or lovable. You learn to give that to yourself. You learn to validate your own experiences, calm your own fears, and cheer yourself on through every victory and heartbreak. That kind of self-reliance doesn't happen overnight. It's built layer by layer with every moment you choose growth over comfort. She understands that being alone gives her space to connect with her intuition. When you're constantly surrounded by noise, romantic or otherwise, it becomes easy to lose track of your own voice. But solitude sharpens your inner compass. It helps you get honest about what you truly want, not just what society tells you to desire. In that quiet, she's learnt to trust herself, to listen to the whisper that says, "Wait, don't settle." This kind of woman doesn't fear silence. She's nourished by it. Silence is where she recalibrates, where she lets go of old wounds, and where she gathers strength for the life she's creating. When she's alone, she's not waiting for someone to make her life interesting. She's already living a story worth telling. And that story doesn't begin or end with a boyfriend. It's a journey of constant becoming. Many people equate love with validation. They think that being loved by someone else makes them more valuable. But she knows the truth. Her value isn't up for negotiation. Whether someone sees her or not, whether someone chooses her or not, she remains whole. That's what emotional independence looks like. It's knowing that love is beautiful, but not essential to your self-worth. It's knowing that you're enough, exactly as you are. People might try to pressure her. Family, friends, even strangers might ask, "Why don't you have someone?" But what they're really asking is, "Why haven't you chosen what we think you should want?" And she doesn't owe anyone a justification for her life. She doesn't have to explain why she values her peace, her time, and her space. Her life is not on hold. It's not incomplete. It's unfolding perfectly on her own terms. She has seen what happens when people fear being alone. They compromise. They lower standards. They accept confusion, inconsistency, and emotional unavailability just to avoid silence. She's been there. She's learned the hard way that settling for less than you deserve is lonelier than being single. Now, she guards her energy like it's sacred, because it is. The beauty of this lifestyle is that it creates space for intentionality. When she eventually chooses to welcome love, it won't be out of need. It will be out of want, a desire to build something real with someone who respects her solitude and doesn't try to fix what was never broken. She's not looking for someone to complete her. She's looking for someone to complement her, a partner who meets her in the middle, not someone she has to carry. Until then, she lives, she thrives, she creates. Her life isn't paused. She's not waiting at a station hoping love will arrive. She's walking her own path, one step at a time, collecting experiences, building wisdom, and becoming more herself every day. And she's doing it without apology. So when people ask if she's afraid to end up alone, she smiles, because she knows she's already won the hardest battle, the one where you learn to love your own company. And from that place of inner wholeness, anything she chooses will be an addition, not a crutch, not a rescue, and certainly not a reward for enduring life alone. She doesn't live without boyfriends because she has no option. She lives this way because she made a choice. A conscious, empowered, beautiful choice to master her own life before sharing it. And there's nothing lonely about that. She knows the difference between love and attention, and that knowledge has become her quiet power. It didn't come easily. It came from experiences that taught her the hard way. Moments where words felt sweet, but actions betrayed them. Where someone wanted her close, but not committed. Where she was given time, but not respect. Over time, she learned how to read between the lines. She began to see that not every hand that reaches out is offering love. Some are just seeking distraction, comfort, or control. She stopped confusing consistency with connection. Just because someone shows up often doesn't mean they care deeply. Just because someone texts every morning doesn't mean they want a future with her. Attention can be consistent. Love is intentional. And she's not interested in being a convenience. She wants depth, presence, and mutual respect. Not fleeting moments that leave her wondering where she stands. Tension makes noise. Love creates peace. She remembers how it felt to be showered with affection one day and ignored the next. She remembers how much she used to cling to the highs, thinking they meant something. But emotional whiplash isn't romance. It's instability. Love shouldn't feel like a guessing game. It should feel like home, like safety. And now she knows better. Now she waits for the kind of love that doesn't disappear when it's inconvenient. She's no longer impressed by flattery or charm. Words are easy, compliments are cheap. What matters to her now is presence. Is the person showing up with integrity? Are they truly curious about who she is beyond what she can offer? She's tired of attention that only lasts until the next distraction comes along. If someone wants her, they need to show up consistently, not just when it suits them or when they feel lonely. There was a time when being noticed felt like enough. When getting a reply, a like, or a second glance made her feel special. But that was before she learned how to validate herself. Now she doesn't need outside noise to remind her she's worthy. She already knows. And that self-worth has made her far more selective. She doesn't chase validation anymore. She doesn't need it. She recognizes her own value even when no one else is clapping. This understanding has transformed her relationships. She no longer stays just because someone pays attention. She asks the harder questions now. Does this person truly see me? Do they respect my boundaries, my dreams, my truth? Are they here for me? Or are they just looking for something to fill their time? If the answer is unclear, she walks away, not out of bitterness, but out of self-respect. She's aware that attention often comes from those who haven't done their own work, people who don't know what they want, but don't want to be alone either. She's not here to fix anyone, to mother anyone, or to wait until someone figures out if they're ready. She's ready now. And she deserves someone who's just as clear, someone who gives love, not breadcrumbs. What makes her powerful is her ability to walk away from anything that doesn't feel right. She no longer waits around for potential. Potential is a maybe, and she's lived through enough maybes to know they're usually just delays wrapped in false hope. She wants presence, effort, clarity. She's not afraid of solitude anymore because she knows what it protects her from: games, confusion, emotional exhaustion. She understands that real love shows itself in consistency, in effort, in how someone shows up on the hard days. Attention might come with grand gestures, but love is found in the quiet, steady moments, in the small, thoughtful actions, in someone listening deeply, showing care, honoring promises. That's what she's after, and she won't settle for anything less. Her standards have risen not because she's bitter, but because she's finally aligned with her own worth. She knows what she brings to the table: loyalty, wisdom, kindness, depth. She's not looking to be someone's emotional band-aid. She's looking for an equal. And that's rare, which is why she's okay being alone until she finds it. There's no longer a rush in her spirit. She's not panicking about timelines or milestones. She's moving at her own pace, trusting that real connection doesn't come from chasing or forcing. It comes from alignment. And alignment only happens when two people meet from a place of wholeness, not need. She's aware that many people are drawn to her light, but aren't ready to handle it. They want the warmth without doing the work. They want the connection without the commitment. And that's fine, but she's not interested. Her energy is no longer available for half-hearted efforts. If someone can't meet her where she is, she won't dim herself just to be accessible. This woman, the one who knows the difference between love and attention, is a force. She's not waiting to be chosen. She's already chosen herself. She doesn't entertain what isn't sincere. She doesn't stay where she's confused, and that makes her powerful. Not because she's cold, but because she's clear. In a world where many people are addicted to attention, she's detoxed from it. She's reconnected with what's real, what's nourishing, what's sustainable. She's not seeking sparks, she's seeking fire that lasts. The kind of love that doesn't need to perform, impress, or manipulate. Just steady, grounded, mutual love. And until that love comes along, she's content, because attention may come and go, but her peace, her clarity, and her self-worth are here to stay. Her peace is her priority, and that single decision has reshaped everything about how she moves through life. There was a time when she thought love was worth any cost: time, energy, even her own sanity. She believed that sacrificing for someone else, compromising her needs, and tolerating chaos were signs of loyalty. But eventually, she learned the truth. Love without peace is a storm that leaves you empty. And now she refuses to trade her inner calm for anyone's attention. This woman has walked through the kind of relationships that kept her up at night, the kind that left her questioning her worth, replaying conversations and doubting her instincts. She remembers how it felt to be in love and constantly anxious at the same time. And that memory taught her something important. If love makes you feel unsafe, it's not love. If it brings more confusion than clarity, more tears than trust, it's not worth keeping. She no longer accepts emotional noise just to avoid silence. She has grown into someone who protects her peace like it's oxygen, because for her, it is. Her emotional energy isn't up for grabs anymore. She doesn't entertain situations that leave her drained, confused, or doubting herself. That boundary doesn't come from arrogance. It comes from survival, from learning that her mental health is more important than someone's empty promises. Peace doesn't always look exciting from the outside. It's not loud, it's not dramatic, but it's safe, it's stable, it's real, and she's reached a point in life where peace is far more attractive than passion that burns hot and cold. She's not chasing intensity. She's seeking sustainability. If a relationship threatens the emotional balance she's worked so hard to create, it has no place in her life. She knows now that love isn't supposed to feel like walking on eggshells. It's not supposed to be constant guessing or emotional survival. Love, when it's right, brings peace. It makes you feel grounded, not insecure. It helps you breathe easier, not hold your breath. And until she finds a love that feels like peace, she will gladly stay alone. This choice isn't about avoidance. She's not running from connection. She's just no longer willing to lower her standards to accommodate chaos. She's experienced what it feels like to lose herself in someone else, to abandon her own needs in hopes of keeping a connection alive. And she promised herself she would never do that again. Now, she's intentional. If someone steps into her life, they need to come with respect, communication, and emotional maturity. She's not available for mind games or half-truths. She doesn't want someone who only shows up when it's easy. She wants someone who brings peace, not pressure, clarity, not confusion. And if that person doesn't exist right now, she's fine with waiting. Her solitude isn't lonely, it's peaceful. It's filled with routines she loves, spaces she's created, and moments that feed her soul. She wakes up in the morning and her first feeling is calm, not dread, not tension, just calm. And that is something no temporary romance could ever replace, because peace isn't just an emotion, it's a lifestyle, it's a choice to prioritize your well-being, no matter what the world says you should want. She's watched others stay in relationships that slowly broke them down. She's seen how people trade happiness for history, staying with someone just because it's familiar, but she refuses to live like that. She knows peace comes with a price too. Saying no to what's easy, walking away when it hurts, standing alone when you'd rather not. But to her, it's a price worth paying. This woman doesn't fear being alone at night. She fears losing herself again. She fears going back to the version of her that tolerated stress, mistreatment, or emotional instability in the name of love. That version of her no longer exists. She's become someone new, someone who places inner peace above all else. And this shift has changed everything: the way she loves, the way she speaks, the way she moves through the world. She's no longer reactive, she's responsive. She doesn't argue to prove her point anymore. She removes herself. She doesn't beg to be understood. She simply aligns with those who understand her. She's not trying to fix or rescue anyone. She's just living in alignment with her truth. This peace she has built didn't come easily. It was earned. Piece by piece, boundary by boundary, heartbreak by healing. She had to unlearn the idea that being chosen by someone else meant she had value. She had to realize that being at peace with herself was the real victory. And now that she has it, she'll never give it up. Not even for the most charming smile or sweetest words. If someone wants to be in her life, they need to come correct. Not perfect, but grounded. Not flawless, but honest. Because she's not looking for a fantasy, she's looking for peace in human form. And if that doesn't come along today, she's content to rest in the peace she's built for herself. She's not hard. She's healed. And healed women don't choose chaos. They choose quiet strength. They choose simplicity over drama, depth over excitement. She doesn't crave the rush of a new beginning. She values the comfort of emotional security. And she's not afraid to wait for it. In a world that celebrates urgency, she is patient. In a world that praises passion, she values peace. And that makes her rare. She's not trying to prove anything. She's not playing games. She's simply living in a way that feels right to her soul. And that is the kind of woman who cannot be shaken, tempted, or rushed. Because once you taste true peace, anything that threatens it instantly becomes unappealing. And she has tasted it. Now, nothing else will do. She doesn't fear loneliness anymore. She's made peace with it. And in doing so, she's discovered her power. Where once she might have dreaded the silence, now she embraces it. She no longer needs noise or people around her to feel seen. Her life is full, not because of who is in it, but because of how she chooses to live it. She has learned to walk through quiet rooms without needing to fill them with company. She has learned to enjoy her own laughter, her own thoughts, her own presence. Loneliness used to feel like a threat, like something to escape from. It whispered to her that she wasn't enough on her own, but the more time she spent sitting with herself, really sitting with her feelings instead of distracting or numbing them, the more she began to hear a different voice. One that said, "You're not alone, you're just unaccompanied. And there's a difference. One speaks of lack, the other of strength." Now she understands that solitude isn't punishment, it's preparation. It's in those quiet moments that she's built herself. She's learned who she is without influence, without external opinions, without a hand to hold. She's cried through hard truths and come out stronger. She's faced the mirror and seen both her flaws and her brilliance. And she doesn't need anyone else to validate what she already knows. She is whole. There's something powerful about a woman who can be alone without falling apart. Society often trains us to believe that partnership is the goal, that being single is a phase to rush through. But she doesn't buy into that anymore. She knows that being alone can be the most fertile ground for growth. In her solitude, she's written her story, defined her values, and shaped her standards. She doesn't wait to be chosen. She chooses herself every single day. People assume she must be lonely. They project their fears onto her. But what they don't understand is that she's not living in absence, she's living in alignment. She's not lonely, she's selective. She doesn't open her heart to just anyone because her peace has become too precious to risk on a maybe. She's not afraid of being alone, she's afraid of being with someone who makes her feel lonelier than solitude ever did. She's experienced that kind of loneliness before, the one that comes from being next to someone who doesn't really see you. That hollow ache of giving everything and receiving almost nothing. That is the kind of loneliness she'll never tolerate again. It's far more painful to feel unseen in a relationship than it is to be by yourself. And she's finally learnt to tell the difference. Her days are not empty, they are filled with purpose, intention, and authenticity. She works on her passions. She surrounds herself with people who respect her time and energy. She rests, she creates, she grows. She's stopped waiting for someone to give her life meaning. She gives it meaning herself. And there's a quiet confidence in that, knowing you are the source of your own fulfillment. She doesn't need saving. She's not hoping to be rescued from her own life. She's not looking for someone to fill a gap. There is no gap. Her life is not a half-finished story waiting for a hero. It's a complete narrative with her as the main character. If someone wants to join her journey, they're welcome, but they have to add value, not just presence. She's made loneliness her teacher. It's shown her where she used to settle, where she once doubted her worth. It's shown her how strong she can be when there's no one else to lean on. It's in those moments of solitude that she's become unshakable. She's learned to soothe herself, to celebrate herself, to honor her own needs without apology. And because of that, she doesn't fall for just anyone. She doesn't mistake attention for affection or presence for partnership. She's not swayed by sweet words if they're not backed by action. She doesn't chase, she doesn't beg, she doesn't wait around hoping someone will wake up and finally choose her. She's already chosen herself. What she's built internally can't be taken away by a breakup or a quiet night. Her foundation is solid. She knows what peace feels like, and she'll never again confuse chaos for passion. If someone brings stress, doubt, or inconsistency, she's out. Not because she's cold, but because she's clear. She knows what she deserves, and she knows that being alone is a better option than being with the wrong person. She's not emotionally unavailable, she's just emotionally intelligent. She doesn't rush into connections out of fear. She moves with intention. She wants real love. One built on mutual respect, shared vision, and emotional safety. Until then, she's not waiting. She's living. Her life isn't on pause. It's unfolding every day, beautifully, powerfully, and peacefully. She has redefined what it means to be alone. It's no longer a sentence, it's a choice. A strong, wise, unapologetic choice. She is not a woman waiting to be completed. She is complete. And anyone who enters her world must know that they are not the source of her happiness. They are the addition to it. So no, she doesn't fear loneliness. She's met it, she's danced with it, and she's mastered it. And because of that, she'll never again be controlled by the need for someone else's presence. She'll never again settle for half loves or almosts. She is free within herself, by herself, and for herself. And that is the kind of freedom that no one can take away.